Hi, I'm Doug, your tech support representative here at Atlantic British, and in this video we're going to touch base on replacing a height sensor. This is an 06 Range Rover Sport. This one happens to be a supercharged. We actually have a code for a defective right rear height sensor. So we're going to go through some of the basics just so you know what you're getting into. It's actually a fairly easy replacement. The only thing is that after you've put a height sensor in, you do need to have a height calibration done, which can be done by either a dealer or a Land Rover shop that has a unit capable of being able to read and perform the height calibration. This is your height sensor. This is the right rear. Now there's been some slight changes in design. The original design, you'll find when you take it out, has two screws that run through a bracket and thread directly into the plastic housing of the height sensor. They've done away with that, and what you have is two pre-threaded holes on a steel bracket that's going to be mounted in the same orientation as that, but just so you see the difference, you don't think that you've received the wrong height sensor. There's been some changes. You'll find that being this is an 06, this vehicle's been around for 7 or 8 years. Well, they've done redesigns and updates over that period of time. This is one of those updates. Now, something else I'm going to point out that I noticed on this vehicle, and you want to check on any one of yours, and it actually applies to anything electrical. You have wire routing on here. Now, this is your harness coming out and connecting to your height sensor. Right here, you'll see that piece right there has broken off. That's just what they refer to as a Christmas tree or a plastic plug-in. And it should be plugged into a hole on this side bracket. You have a hole right here, which is where that's supposed to plug into. That's broken off. Because of that, the wiring is not sitting in the position where it should be, and you can see where it's been rubbing through the convolute and can eventually end up rubbing through the wires. Now, I've looked at this one. The wiring, fortunately, is okay. After we've replaced this height sensor, we're going to get this wire back into the position it's supposed to be to reduce the amount of rubbing back here. So, what you have essentially is two screws going into the side of the height sensor. As I said, they screw directly into the plastic housing. It'll take a number 20 Torx driver to remove those. And the top of the arm where this just pops onto the control arm right here, this can be just popped off with a pry bar, which is what we're going to do. All right, we'll pop this off. We'll be able to move this arm up and down, which will be needed to clear and access the bottom bolt, and we'll take that height sensor out. All right, so something I'm going to introduce at this point, because not only are we going to be doing the height sensor replacement, but we've run into something that's pretty common on these, and we have some wire damage. As I explained earlier, with the wire not being routed properly and it was rubbing in the back, we found that it also allowed for a lot of movement of the harness, which caused a cracking and an opening of the insulation in the wiring right at the connector. Now, between that and also the fact that on some of these vehicles, they're very prone to getting moisture in the connectors, which will create some corrosion, also create a bad connection. They actually have a harness repair kit available for all the 06, basically Range Rover LR3, the Sport. This will fit all of them. This is the kit that we stock. I'll give you a little rundown on this. It's basically EAS Sensor Repair Harness. And what you get is the wiring with the proper connector. We get the wire tie with the little Christmas tree on it so that we can replace that broken unit so that the routing will be done properly. You get 3 dead end connectors and 3 shrink tubes. So some of the tools that you're going to need to do the repair is going to be a pair of wire crimpers and cutters. I actually prefer diag cutters to make the cut a little bit neater, a little bit cleaner. This little screwdriver I find sometimes is good to hold up the harness. These are the dead end connectors I described. And then you'll probably need, I prefer a heat gun as opposed to open flame, but you can use a cigarette lighter or a match. You need to heat these tubes up, and what they'll do is essentially shrink down and seal the connection so that we don't get any corrosion in there. So I'm just going to point out to you and bring you in a little bit closer and point out to why we're replacing this. And if you look carefully, there's a split in the insulation here and here. That allows moisture to get in, and being it's copper, will corrode, create high resistance, and create the issue that we may have where we've thrown a code, we've got the check engine light on, it's a hard code, so the system immediately picks it up on a self-test. Not going to take a chance on it just being a height sensor. We're going to replace that wiring as well. Now it's very simple. The wire codes are going to be different from vehicle to vehicle. So essentially what we're going to do is you're going to match wire location to wire location. If I put the new connector up against the old, the configuration is the same. 2 wires on the bottom, 1 on the top right hand corner. So if we change each wire or splice each wire individually, we know we're not going to get them crossed up. We know that this top right hand corner is this gray and red striped wire, so that's going to correspond to the yellow wire on the new connector. So we'll split, cut, splice, and we'll wait for the end till we finish to do the shrink tube, but we'll do the splicing individually one at a time so we know we've got the proper connections. Once we get that done, then we'll be able to install the height sensor and then do the height calibration. Alright, so this is essentially how you should be looking. There's the 3 wires, butt spliced, and shrink tube over the top, melted down. You see at the end of the shrink tube, it almost looks like a glue coming out of there, and that actually is a seal that develops when you heat them up. There's your new connector in place. Wires have been double checked. They're oriented in the proper position. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slide that wire tie with the little Christmas tree up and over and in place, and then get this set up so that this is routed properly, and then we'll install the height sensor. Alright, so this is the finished product. We got the wheel sensor back in place. We've put the arm back in, popped it over, and connected it to the upper control arm. We've taken our wire repair and we've just set these towards the back so they're not in the way of anything moving. The Christmas tree is popped in place, so the wire tie now holds that harness in the back in place where it should be to reduce the rubbing in the back. So that's essentially your repair. Now all you need to do is get the wheel back on, set this down, and with the replacement of any airbag or height sensor on these systems, you do need to have height calibration done on this so that the system operates properly. So when you're ready to change over the height sensor on your vehicle, or you need to do a wire repair, or you need to connect both, just call any of our knowledgeable salesmen at 1-800-533-2210, and thanks for watching.